G'day, how you going? So we want to scan some negatives, black and white, over to the computer. Now there's a couple of ways of doing it. Probably the best way, the most expensive way, is to buy one of those Epson scanners. You can probably use any scanner, but you just got to make sure that the white on the back, on the lid, you can remove that because you want the light to shine through. So that's the whole idea of it. You want light coming from the back of it, and then you can scan it like that. There's a couple of scanners you can get. There's one from America, and there's a couple that are available in Australia. These ones here, they're pretty good standalone scanners where you just feed the thing in and scan like that. So if you want to buy them, they're probably the easiest and best ways to do it. But yeah, if you just want the cheaper way of doing it with good results, you can just take a photo of the negative rather than scan it. Just take a photo with your camera. I'll show you. This is the way that I did it originally with these cheap $2 bloody $20 things off Amazon. You just put that on the floor, on the table, and put the negative on top and scan it like that. I'll show you how I did that. Those lights that you get to light your YouTube, whatever. You just need something backlit, and then the film there, and just put it on top. This one you can increase the brightness, so I just bung it on as high as I can, and with the film, I'll put the film on top. I'll weigh it down a bit with something to make it flat, and get the old trusty Olympus out. So I got the macro lens, the 60mm macro, and bung the old glasses on. And you don't even need a tripod. I had a tripod with the arm there and all that, but it was a pain in the ass. But this image stabilization is good enough. Just put it on raw at 6.3 or 5.6. Oh, the other thing also, bloody dust and lint and shit everywhere. These gloves don't bloody help, but you got to wear them because they leave squash fingerprints. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And then hopefully they turn out. But yeah, that's a cheap way. Otherwise, buy a proper scanner for $300-400. Some of them go up to $1,500. Or you can buy one of these cheap ones that I bought, which is the same thing. It's just an LED on the back. But the beauty of this one is you can go like this. So you put the negatives in those holders that you get, and then you just take a photo, whatever. So that's handy because it's an easy workflow. That's what you want, easy, fast. Now, some things that you need to do before you start scanning is to get rid of the bloody dust and the lint and everything that's on there. The best way is prevention, not to get lint and dust and water spots on there in the first place. But because this was my first time, I think I let it dry out, it was in the lounge room, where you should put it somewhere where it's a little bit more humid and less dust, like the bathroom, to dry. Because far out, man, there was so many spots and lint. It's like a lint nightmare. And also, if you've got a dog, I found that many hairs of Jerry on here. It was ridiculous. Get some alcohol, and that'll get rid of any water spots. This is isopropyl alcohol, not drinking alcohol. So, and a blower. Get some gloves. Try and get nylon gloves. Just search for lint-free gloves. I think Ansell makes some. Anything that's lint-free, that are catered for jewelers or photographers, or you just hold them on the side like I did. So just give it a good blow like that. And if you inspect it in the light, and if you do see water spots, get some alcohol, just really gently. So don't go too hard on it. The shiny side you could probably do a little bit harder, but on the dull side you'll get spots on there as well and lint. Just do it on that side, but only gentler. So alright, let's try out this JJC thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. Make sure your negatives are flat. What I did, I just put a big heavy book or a box on top of them and left them overnight so they come out nice and flat like that, because it makes it easier when you want to put it into these holders and they sit flush like that on top like that. And then you've got to line it up from frame in the frame. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I put a white box underneath it just so I can see better what I'm doing, is to then slowly close it and make sure that it sits there properly. Also, shiny side up. It's the side where you can actually see the photo in its correct orientation. Feed it through. You need a macro lens or extension tubes if you got extension tubes, and the object is to be exactly perpendicular. You see that you want to be exactly perpendicular like that. You don't want to be like that or like that because you might get streaks. Now this thing has different strengths. You can go down. What we'll do a few versions. We'll do all the brightness levels to see what results we get. So camera wise, you want RAW, you want ISO 200, you want single autofocus, face detect off, you want the metering mode to be the matrix one, the normal one, aspect ratio 4:3, leave it at that because you want the whole sensor to cover it. And then for settings, you want 5.6 on this lens, on the 60mm macro. That's the sweet spot. 5.6 or 7. I think 5.6 is the best. And the shutter speed will be taken over by the aperture priority. And then you want to line it up and you want to focus, take a shot. Now you can put this on a tripod, but I found it easier just to use handheld, especially with Olympus image stabilization. So that's the first one. Let's go down one. So we'll try different light sensitivity just to see if it gives us different results. Okay, so now that you've imported those photos onto your computer, you need to reverse the image. Now most software has invert. You just right click and invert it, but I don't know, I'm using PhotoLab 5 and even Lumina doesn't have the option. So the only way to do it is to go to the tone curve. So you see over here the tone curve, and with the tone curve all you got to do is reverse it. So you grab the left hand side and scroll it up, and you get the right hand side and you scroll it down, and you get a reversal of that image. Now what you want to do, if you've got a shitload of them to do, you can right click on the actual thumbnail and copy correction settings and then highlight all of them and right click paste corrections, all corrections, and that does it like that. Okay, so from what I can see, this was the brightest, and if you have the brightest light it comes out darker, and if you go to the lightest light, like the least light, it comes out lighter. So that kind of makes sense. So once again, that's the brightest. One less brighter, one less, one less, one less, one less. Yeah, so yeah, as a general rule, I think that's what happens. So maybe just put it in the middle. This one has 11 brightness settings. So somewhere around in the middle somewhere. I don't think it really matters, but I like the lighter version of it. Although that looks cool too. Alright, so now the funny thing now is what happens is if you want to do some modifications, like on the left hand side, everything's reversed. So if you try and increase exposure, it actually gets darker. Because you're really changing this photo, not that photo, if you know what I mean. I've reversed the tone curve. So that's the original photo. So when you start playing around with your exposure compensation and things, everything's back to front. If you go less exposure, it gets brighter. The one way around that is you just export it to a DNG. One tip, yeah, take a few shots, and then so you can pick the best one. The other thing you got to do is get rid of the bloody Jerry's dog hair everywhere. Jerry, there's so much bloody dog hair, Jerry. So you go to a repair tool and bugger that off. See you later. These look like scratches, or maybe water droplets. Okay, so here's the original way that I did it with just that normal light, on the table. Okay, that's much better. And then this is the version I used with the JJC, which is darker, because I was using the brightest light. That's why. I prefer the original way. Why the hell did I buy that JJC? But then if you look back at the one that I did here, number 5, that turned out alright though. So it's all to do with the brightness, I think, of the light that's shining through. I mean, if you want, just use those little lights that you get for $20. Mind you, that JJC is only $30 too, and you get the holder and everything that goes with it. So they're much of a muchness, really. Luminar 4, let's see what Luminar 4 can do. So go to light, advanced, and same again with the tone curve, and bring it down. Gives you kind of same results. Maybe with Luminar, just use the AI enhance, and that'll be enough. AI structure. Let the artificial intelligence figure it out for you. If you don't have a paid program to do this, you can use OM Workspace, which is free. You can use OM Workspace from Olympus. That's free download. Go to the tone curve, and this is free, mind you. And how many bloody scratches there are on there. It's probably easier just to bring it over to Luminar and get rid of all those scratches, because that's got a better AI tool for removing scratch marks and stuff. But yeah, you can do it this way for free if you've got OM Workspace, which is a free download. Anyway, Jerry, that's it for scanning the films. Now, the biggest tip is, Jerry, stop putting hair everywhere. Jerry, you just shed hair Jerry, you shed hair like you would not believe, Jerry. Huh? Oh, Jerry, why are you shedding hair everywhere? Look, that's not good for my photography. Anyway, thanks for that. That's just a quick and easy, sharp way. That's a quick and easy way of doing it. If you don't want to spend too much money, obviously there's a lot of fart-assing around. With that 81 Plus tech, you get like silver light or silver, the application, for free, and that's worth the price alone, apparently, because that's really good for editing and reversing the image. And so basically, get a light source, any light source, get one of these so you can hold it nice and flat, or just weigh it down with a couple of rocks. I use these crystals because if you put the crystals on the film, it actually absorbs the energy of the crystals, and it just brings the photo back to life. So hey, Jerry, these are healing crystals for Jerry. Hey, Jerry, the healing crystals for you. And that's it. Yeah, so light source, don't forget, dust is your biggest enemy. A camera with a macro, and that's it. And get it onto the computer and then play around with the sliders. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.